Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James.
So yesterday I dropped another mock draft, and today I'm going to drop one, and tomorrow I'm going to drop one, and the day after that, all the way until the morning of the draft when I do my final mock draft. So there's been a lot of rumors coming out. I've seen a lot of things since I last recorded my last mock draft. Alex Sarr has been disagreeing with the Atlanta Hawks, hasn't even gotten a workout with them yet. We're going to talk about that in a few seconds. If you guys like this type of content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I know it's kind of corny to ask, but you got to do it, especially a young content creator like me who's at 280 subscribers at the moment. So if you could help out, that'll be fantastic. But we're going to get right into it. So Alex Sarr, who in my opinion is the best prospect in the draft, has not been able to get a workout with the Atlanta Hawks. And if you were to ask me if the Hawks should take a chance and draft Zachary Risachet, I would say no. I would say no. Because you don't see, I saw this on Nerd Session. I was watching their mock draft last night when the news broke that you don't take a wing with limited on-ball creation with the first pick in the draft, especially when you get the first pick in the draft. It doesn't matter what draft this is, draft class, if the draft class is weak or not. You do not take a wing that has limited shot creation. Now, I understand you have shot creation in Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, even if both of them stay opening the season next year. But you have to get a guy like Alex Sarr. There's players in this mock draft where I feel like you cannot go wrong with. And I think that's Alex Sarr, Donovan Clingan, Reed Shepard, Stephon Cassell, and Ron Holland. Even Dalton Connect in some form. But I feel like Alex Sarr is the pick you cannot go wrong with. And yeah, I'm going to take Risachet with the first pick because it looks like it's heading that way. But if you're Atlanta, you figure out a way to get Alex Sarr in the building and get a workout so he can help your team defensively. This team was a bottom tier defensive team last year. Risachet does not help that. And you have a whole bunch of wings. You have guys like Sadiq Bey, whether he comes back or not. You have guys like AJ Griffin. You have guys like DeAndre Hunter. You got guys like Bogdan Bogdanovic. There are plenty of wings for you to grab. I think Zachary Risachet is a terrible pick here, but I think that's what's going to end up happening. And I think the Atlanta Hawks would be foolish to let a guy like Alex Sarr slip out of their hands. But obviously, I'm not the GM. I forgot the GM's name. But anyway, we're going to take Zachary Risachet with the first pick in the draft. I do not agree with it at all, but who knows, man. And one thing I was thinking about with this draft is I would not be surprised who goes where unless the fit is awful. I think that in this type of draft, you draft for fit. Unless you're a team like Washington. Washington does not have their number one guy. They do not have a guy that I've seen that could be like, okay, they could be the number one on this team and they can go contend. Everybody else in this draft, whether it be the Rockets at 3, they have Alperen Sengun. The Spurs at 4, they have Victor Wembanyama. The Pistons at 5, they have Cade Cunningham. The Hornets at 6, they either have LaMelo Ball or Brandon Miller. At 7, the Portland Trailblazers have a whole lot of guys who show flashes of being the number one, but they really haven't taken that stride to be showing that for a whole season. So the Wizards, they got somebody who just fell in their lap. Alex Sarr. You run to the podium and you go take Alex Sarr, in my opinion. You run to the podium and you go take him because he is the best player on the board and he fits better with Atlanta because he has a guard that can really create for him and really boost his potential. But the Hawks took Zachary Risachet and it is what it is. Now, for the Houston Rockets, I'm still going to go Reed Shepard. Like this, we're still, other than the first 2 picks, we're going to be kind of routine with this mock draft that I've had for my past few mock drafts. Reed Shepard is going to be the number 3 pick. And for the San Antonio Spurs, it's going to be Stephon Cassell. You know, whether he ends up being the lead guard or the number 2 guard, I feel as though Stephon Cassell is the pick at number 4 for the San Antonio Spurs. Now, don't mind my phone, by the way. Now, for the 5th pick, I would say the Detroit Pistons go Dalton Connect. Like I said, this team they have pieces. You know, you have Cade Cunningham, you have Jalen Duren, you have Asor Thompson, you have Jaden Ivey. I've seen a lot of people mock Matas Buzelis to the Pistons. Once again, the reason I really am starting to drift away from that, like, we've seen the jump shot go in for Matas Buzelis, but we also have not. So you're really going to be banking on if that jump shot is going to fall, which I think it eventually will. But I think Dalton Knecht is the more surefire shooter that you could place next to Cade Cunningham. He's 6'6". He could play the 2-guard position. You could have a guy like Asor Thompson playing that starting lineup, because if you have to have the most spacing you can possibly have with Asor Thompson in the lineup, because he's such a liability when it comes to shooting. And then when we have a guy like Jalen Duren who's going to be around the rim, who can't necessarily stretch the floor, I don't want to clog this offense up too much, especially to the point where Cade Cunningham can't create. So we're going to pick up Dalton Knecht. He shot 40% from 3 this past season. I think this is the pick right here. Now, part of me either goes for this pick for the Charlotte Hornets, either goes Ron Holland or goes Matas Buzelis. I don't hate Matas here. I don't hate Ron here. I think Ron Holland can play the 2 or the 4, depending on where you would want to see him play. I think he's going to play the 2, in my opinion, opening night. I don't think he necessarily can move down to the 4. Maybe it's a year 2 or year 3. Even if you don't like him at the 2, you can move him to the 4. If you like him at the 2, then keep him at the 2. So I think Ron Holland would be the pick here. He could be the point of attack defender. He could be a lob threat. He could be a good cutter to the basket. And next, I'm going to go Matas Buzelis to the Blazers. They need that wing help. I think Matas Buzelis, if that jump shot falls, he can end up being a top 3 player in this draft when we go down the line. But I think Matas Buzelis is the pick here. At number 8 for the San Antonio Spurs, I'm going to take a project pick, and I'm going to go, part of me still wants to go Topic. Because you just can't pass up on the talent that he has. Like, mind you, this is a guy who, without the injury, is a top 3 player in this draft. A great playmaker, great at getting downhill. His form on his jump shot is very good. He was shot 80% or over 80% from the free throw line, and I think that jump shot is really going to carry over to outside of the free throw line, whether it be a mid-range shot or like a corner 3 shot, if you can just get to league average. That's all we're asking, So I think you go Nikola Topic, man. I mean, I know the Spurs are grabbing double guards. I saw in my last mock draft, one of the guys that was commenting said, this is a draft where the Spurs could go double guard and it'd still be fine. They could go double wing. It could still be fine. They can go guard, wing, and it could still be fine. I feel the same way with the Spurs. You can go double guard and it could still work out. Like, you could get a guy like Nikola Topic to where if Stephon Cassell does not work out as the perimeter or as the ball handler that carries all the responsibility for the team, you have Nikola Topic. Even if he misses the first season, like, the Spurs aren't contending for a championship this year. They're not contending for a championship this year. So if you get a guy like Nikola Topic where it's like, okay, we kind of whiffed on Stephon Cassell being the lead guard. Maybe we can move him to the 2. I don't know what we do with Devin Vassell. Maybe we can move Stephon Cassell if Nikola Topic ends up being better. There's a lot of things you could do here. Anyway, at number 9, the Memphis Grizzlies are going to take Donovan Clingan. Like I said, there are guys where you just can't go wrong in this draft, and I think Donovan Clingan is one of them. So Memphis, it's been a lot of rumors that they're going to be thinking about trading the pick. I don't necessarily know if I like that for them. I think you go get Donovan Clingan. That's what I think they do. Now there's going to be a lot of trades, or there may be some trades in this draft. We're not doing a lot of trades in this mock draft, or we're not doing any trades at all in this mock draft. So this is basically going off, if this team has this pick, this is what I think they would do. Now, there's been a lot of teams in this mock that's hard to mock for. Guys like the Blazers, guys like the Spurs, guys like the Bulls. I say it in every video. I might be dead wrong when it comes to those three teams because they have so much. Or the Spurs have And they have every route they could go. They have every route they could go with having 2 picks in the top 10. The Blazers have so much guys, so much young talents to where you don't know who could fit next to these guys. And the Bulls, they have so much top end talent, but it's not enough for them to win a championship. So it's like, do they go with a guy that fits next to their top end talent, or do they go with a guy with upside because they realize, like, look, we're going to be a bad team sooner than later, and maybe we should get a young guy now to progress, so when that time really comes, we can have the number 1 of the future. We don't know where the Bulls could go. But next player I want to draft is Rob Dillingham to the Utah Jazz. I think he has that potential as a scorer for the Utah Jazz, and I think that really highlights him to them. So I'm going to take Rob Dillingham to the Utah Jazz. And with the 11th pick, I'm going to be taking Tijon. No. I don't know, man. I think Cody Williams fits here well just because of the potential he has in his off-ball ability, whether he's cutting to the rim or whether he's playing baseline. I think the Bulls have the guards to necessarily find him. Tijon Saloon, I'm going to go Cody Williams. I'm going to go Cody Williams to the Chicago Bulls. I think this is a great pick for them. He has a potential, but I think coming in, you're probably not going to get he's probably not going to have to play much. I mean, there's been some rumors that Zach LaVine may be on the trade block. There's also guys like Nikola Vucevic who might be on the trade block, so he might get more minutes eventually. But I like Tijon Saloon for the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is a guy who is not going to have to play a glaring amount of minutes. Like, this is one of the biggest boom or bust guys in the draft because he has such a high ceiling but such a low floor, to the point where next year, at the end of next year, be like, look, it looked really rough. And then at the end of year 2, it could be like, oh, he really started to figure something out, and now he's becoming a contributor to the NBA. So I'm going to take Tijon Saloon here. I am really big on Tijon Saloon. I think he could be a very good player. So my pick for the Sacramento Kings, it's between Jared McCain and Devin Carter. Jacoby Walter has entered my mind just a little bit. Once again, I'm going to go Jared McCain. He's going to fill that Malik Monk type of role for the Sacramento Kings. And number 14, I don't know. I think part of me wants to go Kel'el Ware. Because we don't necessarily know the future behind DeAndre Ayton. We also don't know the future behind Rob Will. But like I said, the Blazers are so deep when it comes to, like, talent in general. Like, they have a whole bunch of bigs, they have a whole bunch of guards, they have a need at wing, but at the end of the day, you still have guys like Matisse Thybulle and Jeremy Grant, and it's a whole lot of guys on this team. Jabari Walker is a young player still. There's, like, whoever you take, they're not going to have to produce day one, which is okay. But in the end of the day, it's like, at some point, a young guy is going to have to blossom, in my opinion. So part of me still wants to go Tristan da Silva, but part of me also wants to go Kel'el Ware or Yves Missi, because in the end of the day, like I said earlier, this is the type of draft where you draft for fit and for fit only. You know, I think out of all the teams in the draft, the only team that does not have that clear number 1, I could say the Blazers as well, but the Wizards are the team that we don't even have a potential number 1 guy. Like, I don't see Deni Avdija. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but I don't think Deni Avdija is the guy to be the number 1. I don't think Bilal Coulibaly is the guy to be a number 1. Corey Kispert or Jordan Poole or Kyle Kuzma, or I just don't think that. And then with the Blazers, it's like, we've seen flashes of Anthony Simons being a multiple-time All-Star. I think they're still banking on Scoot Henderson to be the number 1 guy. And we've seen it towards the end of the season. He played very well, but at the end of the day, that's end-of-season runs. We don't really know how good you can be off end-of-season runs. I mean, DeAndre Ayton makes a living out of it every single season. No straight to DeAndre Ayton, but it's like we see DeAndre Ayton's numbers go up towards the end of the regular season every single year. And we're like, okay, DeAndre Ayton, maybe he's actually becoming something. No, he's not. He's still a really good player, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, man. I don't know. But I think I'm going to go Tristan da Silva here. I'm going to go Tristan da Silva here. That was in my last mock. It's going to stay right there. I think Tristan da Silva is that NBA-ready player that the Portland Trailblazers could really use to open up their offense and learn from Jeremy Grant, whether Jeremy Grant is still on the team within the next few years or he's not there. And for the Miami Heat, I'm going to go Devin Carter. This is like the absolute perfect fit, in my opinion. I don't have to say much more. It's been in my last mock drafts. Now, for the Philadelphia 76ers, who have a lot of money coming into the offseason, I'm going to be taking Jacoby Walter. I'm going to take Jacoby Walter. This is that 3-and-D guy who can create his own jump shot with the ball in his hand, could create a jump shot without the ball in his hand. I would just like to see him get to the rim a little bit more. You're going to have Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. I think he's going to have to start attacking the rim just a little bit more, and I think he's capable of doing that. So I'm going to take him. With the Lakers, this is probably a lock for me. Kelly Ware, he's going to the Los Angeles Lakers. I really like that pick for my Los Angeles Lakers, if you want to be completely honest. I really like that pick for them. Now, for the Utah Jazz, there is a lot of – not Utah, I'm tweaking. For the Orlando Magic, there are a lot of ways you can go. You can go Jalen Tyson, who's pretty down in the rankings, but like if you want to stay and take one of the top guys, I like Johnny Furphy. I like Keyshawn George. I like Yves Missi, but you have a plethora of big men. Also like Tyler Kolek. Maybe you can play him next to Jalen Suggs. But I'm going to go shooting, and I'm going to go Johnny Furphy. It's not going to be pretty, but he has an NBA-ready jump shot. Like, I think his jump shot is amazing, and he can run the break. He's 6'9". If you could play him at the 2 position, I think it could work out for the Orlando Magic. Now, with the 19th pick for the Toronto Raptors, I'm going to be taking Yves Missi. This is the same. This is pretty much. We're starting to get into a system now. We're starting to get to a system to the point where I think Yves Missi is not going to be as productive as these other big men. Well, honestly, because it's now Alex Sarr maybe going to the Wizards. I don't think that Yves Missi is going to have that lead guard to really open up plays for him. I think what he's going to strive off his first season could be the rim protection, the shot blocking, the way he alters shots at the rim. I think that's where he's going to be most effective this season. Now, at number 20, I'm going to go Tyler Smith to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that's a tremendous fit. Like we've seen in our recent mocks that Tyler Smith, you insert him into the 4, move Evan Mobley down to the 5. Whether you end up trading Jared Allen or not, that could be a guy that comes off the bench and still can insert and hit that outside shot and could be a great pick and roll candidate, pick and pop candidate with Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell, whether Darius Garland is here or not. Now, for the New Orleans Pelicans, I don't know if I mentioned this in any video yet, but the Pelicans they gave up the most turnover points in the playoffs last season, or this last playoffs, to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder generated 20 points per game off turnovers, and that's because, one, they're playing C.J. McCollum at the point guard position, and then Zion Williamson, their other lead ball handler, was not there to play. So I think Isaiah Collier, I think he's still a very good player. Don't get me wrong. And then when he's coming downhill, especially off a screen and roll, whether you could feed Zion or you could you can kick out to a guy like C.J. McCollum, whether he's still there or not. You could kick out to a guy like Herb Jones or Brandon Ingram or Trey Murphy. I think Isaiah Collier is the perfect point guard to be in New Orleans. I love this pick for them. Now, for the Phoenix Suns, we're going to be going point guard again, and we're going to be taking Tyler Kolek. I think with the age, the playmaking, this is perfect for them. I think halfway through the season, we're going to see a guy like Bradley Beal come off the bench just because of the productivity. I don't think that offense works with 2 overlapping roles. I think Devin Booker and Bradley Beal are the same player when it comes to their role in an offense. And I just don't think you're maximizing Devin Booker, who should be your best player going into this season. I don't think you're maximizing him, playing him at the point guard position. You need to go get a point guard. So halfway through the season, whether you guys are lighting the league up or you guys are blowing the league up, like not playing well, you should think about really having Tyler Kolek start as your point guard. Maybe not day one, but you see what he has coming off the bench, and you really give him that. You really give him that starting job. Anyway, for the Milwaukee Bucks, I've been like all over the place, whether they want to go get a guy like Ryan Dunn, whether they want to go get a guy like Jalen Tyson, or there's guys like Keyshawn George who are still on the board. And then there's other guys like, where's he at? Kevin McCullough, Deron Holmes. There's still a whole lot of really good players that are on the board for the Milwaukee Bucks. And if it were me, we have the scoring in Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bobby Portis. You go get defense. Please go get a defensive player. Go get Ryan Dunn. Have him play for the Bucks. He doesn't need to start immediately. Maybe you could get that offensive game going, because if he's playing next to Giannis, he's going to have a jump shot, to be realistic. So I think that's a good pick for them. Next, for the New York Knicks, once again, I don't hate Jalen Tyson here. He's a bigger guard who can pretty much do everything on the floor. Let's see. Just to think about it real quick, I like Kevin McCullough. I also like Deron Holmes. If they're gonna go get a center instead of Isaiah Hartenstein, maybe you can go get Deron Holmes with the 24th pick, or not even the 24th pick. You have back-to-back picks, so why not go get a guy who can I like Keyshawn George. I like Keyshawn George in this role for the New York Knicks. And then for the next pick, I'm actually gonna take Deron Holmes. I'm going to take Deron Holmes with this pick. Now, for the 26th pick for the Washington Wizards, they actually already drafted Alex Sarr with their center pick. So it's like, now, do they take Zach Edey? Do they take a guy like? That's a good idea. Let's see. I'm gonna go. No, you need a point guard. I'm actually going to go Bub Carrington here. I'm going to go Bub Carrington to the Washington Wizards. I like that pick a lot. Now, with the potential of the Minnesota Timberwolves trading Karl Anthony Towns, which I know sounds crazy, I don't know, man. There's a lot of players still on the board, in my opinion. If I'm the Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm going to take Baylor Shireman, one of the best three-point shooters in this team. One of the best three-point shooters in this draft. I think he fits with Minnesota very well, especially being a shooter, which is something that would help their half-court offense a lot. For the Denver Nuggets, I like Bobby Klintman here, so that's who I'm going to go with. Floor spacer, 6'10". He's going to be with Nikola Jokic, making a lot of plays. And with playing with Nikola Jokic, this is the type of player where you have to be at the right place at the right time. So. And with the 29th pick, I think the Utah Jazz just take a swing. Go ahead and take Zach Edey. I know a lot of people in my comments in my last video were like, what's with the Zach Edey hate? It's not any hate to Zach Edey. I just don't think his game necessarily translates to the NBA. Yeah, this is going to be a guy that can get you a lot of rebounds with his height, but it's like, then we look at his frame, and when it's like, we've seen him dominate in the post at the college level. He's not going to be able to dominate the post at the college level when it comes to, or he's not going to be able to dominate the post at the NBA level. I don't think so. I just don't think he has the frame or the size to be dominating in the post. I think he's slow-footed. I think when he's in the game, he's going to be a very big liability in the pick and roll. And what happens when he plays against a team that, like the Thunder or like the Kings, when their center is not just standing around the rim? So I think it's going to be a very big process. Maybe Zach Edey comes off the bench and he does pretty good for his team, whoever decides to draft him. And for the Boston Celtics, I think bringing in another big could really help them as well. I thought about Adam Bona, but I'm actually going to take Kyle Filipowski here with the 30th pick. Now, this is my mock draft. It kind of threw me for a loop as soon as I got the news that Reece Shea is probably going to be headed number 1. So anyway, if you guys like this type of content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm out.